Thank you very much indeed for the kind gesture, and nice to see you all. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank Monica and Jasmine, I don't see Jasmine here today, and Amber, who's helped with Oga Betania. Thank you very much. Oga Betania, as you know, is a home for the homeless in La Linea. And Amber started the wheels in motion to help give them more money because government have stopped funding. And we gave them 5,000 initially just to get them off the ground, because they feed 87 people on a daily basis who are without jobs and without food. And now Monica and Jasmine have taken over because we're all so busy and there's so many projects. And they've taken over that project, and they're holding a quiz night in June to raise more funds to help them some more. I know Jasmine goes there a few times a month.
I think every Thursday.
Every Thursday,
yeah.
And she gives them yoga classes as well. So, and talks to them and lifts their spirits, and so that's wonderful. So I just really wanted to thank them both for really, helping to, the more hands we have, the more people we can help. And for me to do it alone is now impossible. There are too many people asking for help. So thank you once again. I tell Lakshmi, obviously, for all she does here to keep this center going. Thank you very much indeed, and all the teachers here. I just really, really appreciate all that you do, serving, giving your time, giving your love. We can give to the poor, but if we weren't happy ourselves, we can give nothing to anyone. Because what good is it to serve, to serve the poor people in the poor countries when we are so poor ourselves spiritually? Many years ago when I was studying Raja Yoga, somebody asked the question, if we should do good and we need to do good deeds. They asked my master this question. Then why are we spending all this time studying all this stuff? We should be going out there, all of us, and feeding the poor. And our master answered, it is the people who have fed the soul that need to feed the poor. And besides, we are in this world. If we don't feed the world spiritually, the world would be bereft of goodness and kindness. It will go into greed. It will go into, jealousies. It will go into all this pettiness. Well, when you feed the spirit, you go away from the pettiness, and then you want to do more for the world. But what is the point of going out there and serving the world if you don't even serve your very own family, or your very own friends, or your very own country? And so I think it always goes back to when you feel full in yourself, when you feel happy, when you spread peace, then you make the world a better place. So really, this knowledge is really very important. And I will tell you a little story as well. When my husband passed away, I was seriously thinking of monkhood. I had this great desire to shave my head, go into robes, and disappear from the world. Really great desire. And I spoke to Mataji actually, and she said, "Nani, too soon, don't make decisions like that." I have to thank her for that. Yeah, I really had to thank her for that. And I've realized that, and then when I was really going through this stage, one of my patients in Spain, highly intellectual woman who suffered a lot in her life, came to me and I said, I'm really thinking, done it all, been here, maybe I just want to serve God and go into a mountain and meditate and, be on my own. And she said to me, "I'd like to tell you a story." Okay. So do you know there was this French nun? And she went away from France as a young person when she was 30 or 35 years old. And she went to serve in Africa with the poor children who were happy. But she fed them and she taught them, but they were happy children. Now, many years later, when she was about 75, and she was getting too old to be there anymore, she went back to France, where she would have the medical system, etc. And she said she got the shock of her life when she went back after so many years to live there. She said she saw that the people from France were so much poorer than the people she had met in Africa. Because although they were poor physically, they were rich. And the people in France, although they were rich materially, they were so poor spiritually. And she said she wished she had spent her younger years in France to help her people to be happier. So that was a great message for me. And I think this is why we all study the sutras and we try to get this knowledge of spirituality, because really simply, as we stated over and over again, what is spirituality? But to do good and be good. But because the mind is so complicated, it cannot accept the simplicity of it. Because we have been brainwashed that everything has to be so complicated before it means anything, we have to go through all this study of these sutras to learn what the mind is in order to come to the truth. And the truth is simply as you think, it really becomes. You become sad, your life becomes sad, your family becomes sad, the world around you is sad. You become happy, your family becomes happy, the world around you becomes happy, you have a happy life. All starting with your thought pattern. Make it simple when you study these spiritual sciences. Make it really simple, because if you don't make it simple, no matter how much you study and how much you try to learn, you won't get the message. The message is we are spiritual beings living in a physical body. So really understand that you're far more. Last week I read Maxine's wonderful thing, which I read again yesterday in Spain, where quantum physics tells us we're all consciousness. That we're all atoms, and our human body is made up of atoms. That's all it is. And we see forms because of our thought patterns. That's why you see the same person can be ugly to someone and beautiful to another person, right? Somebody that you may dislike so much, somebody else can love so much. Because we all have our perception from our own minds. So really, is the person good or bad? We don't really know. We never know the real truth. This is why I always say, never judge a book by its cover. Because we really don't know. What we do know and what we can do to make a difference is only really one thing: help ourselves. Because God helps those who help themselves. And how do we help ourselves? Simply becoming better human beings. Simply becoming happier. It's contagious. Isn't happiness contagious?
Yes.
Yeah. And misery is a virus that we don't want anymore in this world. All this self-pity, all this anguish, for what? For what? For what? When the end result is, you can tell me what the end result is.
Misery.
Pain, yeah.
Pain, and what else? After all the nonsense you go through, what happens? Correct. You're going to die, so what is going to be worth all the pain that you go through? So yes, everybody goes through pain in life. Of course we do. Why? To remind us we're not permanent here. We're impermanent. So if you just accept the reality of that, we are impermanent here, and stop looking outside. And Gibraltar is a really difficult place to stop looking outside. You all know why. It's small, and everybody knows everything about everybody outside. So even if you want to be internal, you'll be bombarded with information on the outside. Even if you don't want to think a certain thought, you'll be told how to think about a certain person. Or isn't it true? Even if you don't want to, you go there, they'll say, oh, you know this happened. You get influenced whether you like it or not. You will, because it's that kind of a place. Is it bad or good? No. It's a perfect field to learn to be strong. You really want to be strong in yourself, you're in a perfect place. To learn if you can surpass all this gossip and all this noise and just watch it all. Yes, it's really a play. I'm in a really interesting movie. Look at where I live. It never stops. Good. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's partners. Right? It's all there. It's also playing. Why? Just to tell you, simply by doing that, there will be confusion in your life. That's all. If you want confusion, go ahead and do all that. Do it. You will suffer. You will end up in pain. It's not that God makes you suffer, as Gurudev said. It's you yourself that shucks God out. Because what is God but this sparkling energy, which we learned in Sutra 2 and 3. What is this divine energy? We call it truth, knowledge, bliss, absolute. Can you touch it? No, but we know it. It's consciousness. Quantum physics says it's consciousness. It's everywhere. The Upanishads, the very old scriptures say, what do they say? What is it that makes you hear? What is it that makes you see? What is it that makes you speak? What is it that gets your heart beating all the time? Who is it that put this machine together? Must be some kind of creator, but not the creator you think, that goes, you go to hell and you go to heaven and you're going to be like this and this is your lot. No, the creator is the creator, but our thoughts create our world. That's the gift we've been given. So destiny has been created by all the deeds we've done in the past. That creates our destiny. Now there's a way to get out of this destiny. And that's what the Yoga Sutras teach us, and that's the thriller. We have a dance school above us, so it's a not good thing to have, is it? And so this is really the thrill of our life, to be quite honest with you. And when you see it very clearly by constant repetition, why am I unhappy? When you get unhappy, constantly, Sri Patanjali tells us, Yoga Chittas Vritti Narodaha. We'll just go through it quickly again, which means the restraint of the modification of the mind stuff is yoga. When you learn to listen to all the thoughts in your mind, listen. Oh, this is giving no use. It's no use. For example, if you're angry with somebody, you're going on in your head. It's no use. It's very difficult to take that negative thought and pull it out. So what do? You put in good thoughts. That's all you do. You replace them with good thoughts. So Sri Patanjali tells us, restrain all kinds of, ultimately you restrain all thoughts, good and bad, and you just listen. You just listen. And then what you need to learn from the universe will be imprinted on your brain, because you hear a language that is beyond your mind and beyond this world. That's why many people who are very spiritual get messages. They get messages from the other world. They tell you, they get messages. Sometimes when a person is very confused, you get some people like that, they say they're getting messages, be careful, because their reception is not so clear. It could be mixed up with their own thinking pattern. But if a person is very peaceful and they get messages, you can listen to those, because you can see that it's not intercepted. You know how sometimes when you get your radio station, if there's interference, you get a lot of crackling, so you don't hear everything accurately. Same with our minds. And this is what Sri Patanjali tells us. We're all capable of hearing what is the best for us to do. That's what they call flowing with God's energy. When our mind is restrained from all the nonsense. All right? So always think, don't think I'm being punished, I'm miserable. Always think, Why do I feel I'm being punished? Yes, my life is difficult. Yes, it is miserable. But whose isn't? What have I done to create this situation? And what can I do to alleviate myself from this situation? Simply, make it simple. Please make it so simple for yourself with these teachings. These teachings are so complicated in words, but so simple in action. And tell yourself, don't say, oh, now it's so difficult to do, to think positive, because as you think, if you think it's difficult, what is it going to happen?
Difficult.
Say, you know what? It may, as you know, as Arjuna told, Arjuna is a great warrior who told Lord Krishna, which represents our higher self in us. He said, how can you ask me to control this mind? It is obstinate, it is stubborn, it is, it's like the wind, and to ask me to control my mind is like to ask me to control the wind. You can't. And Lord Krishna answers, true, it is difficult, but not
Impossible.
You got it, you see? And anyway, if everything is too easy, you don't appreciate it. You don't. We're just speaking with people, so nowadays there are so many breakup in marriages, etc., etc. And when the marriage is working so well, people get bored. They get bored and they go look for another partner. Are you crazy? You got a good person by your side. He or she is so good to you. Why do you want to drop somebody? Oh, there is no excitement because the person is given everything they want. So sometimes that's why if you have a little challenge in your relationship, thank God. Too easy also doesn't work. I've seen so many people do that. So many people. They get bored. They don't, because they think the grass is greener on the other side. They think. And so unnecessarily 3 or 4 years down the road, it's a bit too late then. They've lost what they had and they can't seem to get their lives in order again. And I've seen this happen too much these days. Too much. Way too much. And it's all from a thought process. A desiring thought in the mind is convince them they cannot be happy if they're not with this other person. And I say, but that's temptation. Didn't Lord Jesus tell us? Yeah? Deliver us from temptation. Temptation is normal. Just because you're tempted, you have this desire, you just can't run and leave everything that you've known. Think a little bit. If you're really confused by this temptation, and everybody will be confused in their life, and everybody will get this temptation, I promise you, at a time when you are the weakest, you will get temptation. And this is what they call the demon in the mind. And that is the time when you have to take up all your strength and ask yourself, ooh, I'm in a really dark place of desire. I know I am. Let me maintain my equanimity of mind and peace. And work out where you are. Take a few days off before you do anything drastic. Think, weigh, and recognize it as temptation. But everybody today is becoming so selfish to have a desire, they just want to fulfill it. I want this, even not only with other people's partners or whatever, with everything. I want these designer clothes. I want this car. So make everybody suffer just to get that. Everything is instant. It's a little good to know that you can restrain, and this is what Sri Patanjali tells us. Is it wrong to have desires? Absolutely not. If it doesn't harm anyone and benefits you, why not? But if it harms someone and robs a pocket to support you, that is wrong. Why? Because we're all one. We're all from the same consciousness. Even science, quantum physics has said that. We all come from one source. It's our thoughts that give us matter. Our thoughts make our body who we are. And you know this. If a person is angry, frustrated, and aggressive, don't you see it in the body? Don't you recognize it immediately? You walk into a room, somebody's like, you immediately know, common sense, that there's something wrong with this person, right? They're upset. So the body shows us a lot about the way we think So it's really important, and your body will show you a lot about who you are and what you are. So if you don't know who you are, go look in the mirror. Talk to yourself. I did. I really did. I looked in the mirror when I first started this study, when I was, 30, 33, 34. I looked in the mirror and I said, who am I? Who am I? Nalanie, who are you? In this one life, you've had two dramatic, totally, 3 different lives already. They had an age of 33, you know? You had your life before marriage, which was like a princess. You had life in university, which was, wow, all about education and intelligence. And you have the life afterwards, which is all about learning about the hard things in life, you know, and very beautiful with it. So who are you? What are you? What do you consist of? Who are you? You know, why can't you control your moods? Why can't you control your personality? What's going on? You know, what is going on in your mind that's making you sad? So you ask yourself, keep asking, and then you realize, you know, I'm really not this body. I'm really not this mind. I'm really here for a little time. And life teaches us all, you know. All of us have lost someone. Everybody in this room has lost someone. Everyone. So, you know, one day we'll lose ourselves, so you have to, so get on with life, and that's why the Sri Patanjali tells us, when you learn to restrain the mind, you abide in your highest, you see who you really are, you see your spirit, you abide in that nature. And by abiding in that nature, you feel peace. You realize everything is like a play, a movie, and everything passes. Everything will pass. Everything will pass. Good passes, bad passes. Everything will pass. So you don't hang on to anything, all right? And then he tells us, like we covered last time, all the different modifications of the mind stuff. What kind of mind thoughts occupy the mind? He said, you know, there are different types of thoughts. One is right knowledge. What is right knowledge? Something that you know for a fact. Something that you know. You see it, you know it. Nobody can convince you otherwise. And indirect perception. Sometimes just by indirectly you can know something. For example, the example is, if you see smoke, then you know there is a fire somewhere, right? So many things in our life are like that, right? And then finally, scriptural knowledge. If you want to know the greatest truths, ask yourself, what keeps being repeated by all the great teachers of this world? What do they keep telling us? Love each other, right? Love each other, serve each other, do good, be good. Have you known any master not to tell you that? However, people involved in different traditions and different religions misunderstand this message. Say, oh, I am going to bomb you so that I'm making God happy. Nowhere in any scripture does it say you can bomb people and make God happy. Nowhere does it say that. So, you know, so when you know what is a wrong action on this earth, if you study different kind of scriptures and you really go deep into them and go, no, this is not true. They will not get to God by doing this. Because nowhere it says that. And besides, it doesn't feel right. We're killing each other. We come from the whole. You see? So you can always cross-reference the truth with these great truths. Got it? Because these are the universal laws. Just like the law of entropy is a universal law. What is the law of entropy? That everything that is material will degrade in time, will get old. Everything. It's a natural law of this world that we live in. Everything. Every single thing. What you see here today may not be here in 100 years or even 10 years. We don't know. Maybe with the works that they're doing, we have no idea how strong this building is, you know. I certainly won't be here for another 100 years, you know. Or I don't know when I'm going to go. 5, 10, 15, no idea. Do you know when you're going to go? No idea. So everything in the end is going to go. That's a law. Accept that as the truth. You know, because it is the truth. The other law, that's a universal law, is as you sow, you reap. Scientific law. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. All general laws. Buddha says, if you want to know your present, examine your past. If you want to know your future, examine your present. Got it? So what you do now, and that's the yoga science, is that you can change your future. You can change it by what you do now. By what you do now. So now, if you were going to get up, get into a bad mood when you go home and scream at somebody, action, reaction. You can decide to go home in a good mood and not scream at anyone. And if there's something you don't like, you can say it nicely. Already changed action, reaction. Do you see? Just by a little knowledge, you can change your life. This is why the spiritual knowledge has to be used in the right way, cleanly and purely. Got it? So then he tells us, okay, that's right knowledge, and then misconception. Many times we think things are one way and they aren't. Be aware of that. Verbal delusion. People tell you things that are not true and you believe it. Advertising, tells you that if you use this, oh yes, I read it when I was in London. I read an article. This young girl was trying to lose weight, and she found an internet site where it said that these weight loss pills would help her to lose weight. Anyway, she got thinner and thinner, and her parents were worried about her. Anyway, one day they found her dead. And they found out that the pills that she was, which they didn't know about, that she'd ordered over the internet, that said natural, had chemicals in it, and she was slowly poisoning herself. So be careful what you buy and what you do. Don't fall in for all these secrets. And then recently I've met many health nutritionists and said, even in the health store, read everything. Today I bought a liver detox tea, and I said, Shanti, check it for me. Does it have all the right ingredients? And then I looked at it myself. I was just teasing her to see how good her knowledge was. And it had all the right ingredients to it, But you have to check things out. Don't take anybody's word for anything. Be intelligent in this day and age. Somebody was telling me even the natural sugars have sometimes things that are not good for you. I had no idea, so I'm learning now, all these things. We have to just learn to trust ourselves, all right? So verbal delusion, and the other thing is sleep. That's where you have a lot of thoughts. These are all things that occupy our mind. Sri Patanjali is just telling us, these are the things that occupy your mind. Dreams, etc. You know that you dream, and sometimes those dreams seem very real. And memory. Most of the people that I meet, 99%, don't live today. They live in the past. But Nalanie, this happened to me, and that's happened to me, and that happened to me. But it's over. Yes, but it happened. But it's over. Nalanie, it's happened. You're not listening. It's over. Don't want to listen. They don't want to listen. They want to feel sorry for themselves. But it's no longer happening now. Yeah, but it happened so many years ago. But it's not happening now. And I see that many people live in the past. You've got to train your mind. This is why we study the sutras, to train the mind to learn to think on now. What's happening now? And every time the mind goes back and feels sorry for itself, gets angry, this injustice, that injustice, bring it back. Is it happening to me now? Is it happening to me now? It's training. It's not easy to do. Okay, this is not easy to do. And Sri Patanjali tells us in the next sutra, it's not easy to do. But if you practice doing it for a long time, without a break, you guys are really good, and with all your heart, you will be able to do it. You will be successful. It tells us clearly. And what is it you have to do? Make the effort to keep your mind steady. Make the effort to keep your mind steady. That is the work. That's why we keep repeating mantras. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Hari Om, Om Shanti. Why? Because all of these don't really say what to think. They're just a repetition of highly evolved sounds. If you want to know what Om Shanti means peace. If you want to know Hari Om means Hari, God, in God's name. You want to know what Om means, is the universal sound that everything started from. Amen, Amin, the different religions use the sound because that's a vibration sound. So these are all, if you want to know what it means, that's what it means. But it's not necessary. Because what we're trying to do with the mind with these mantras is to keep it steady. Steady. So, for example, I have a great desire. Let's say I have a desire to, I really want this house. For example, all right? I really want this house. And then the mind will go, imagine all these houses, it'll have all these thoughts. And then if I try to say, no, I really don't want this, maybe it's going to come, I don't know, so much da-da-da. Do you see all the chatter that's going on in the mind? So what do? We put a neutral thought in. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. And it's a neutral thought, so it escapes your mind. Your mind escapes from the pressure of thoughts. Today people don't get any escape from the pressure of thoughts. That's why there are so many thousands. I'm sure all those in therapy will agree with me. So many thousands are in panic attacks, because the mind does not escape from the thoughts. There's no rest. There's no rest. You go home, full blast, television, news, this, everywhere there's chatter, 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 thoughts, 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 thoughts. If not yours, other people's. All the time, chatter, 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 noise, 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 noise. Spirit cannot, I need a rest. You rest, you go on holiday, you come back, I still don't need a rest. What's going on? Because there is no quiet. There is no rest. There's no rest in the mind. So this is why we use these techniques, right? The techniques of Om Namah Shivaya. Sit with yourself. Why do we say early morning? Because everybody's sleeping and you can have some quiet time. And people say, can I do it at the end of the day? Yes, you can do it any time. Really and truthfully, you can do it any time. My advice is the early morning, the world is very quiet, very little traffic, very little noise. It's really a great time because you really hear. You really hear. You really start to hear, because all you hear, everybody's sleeping, all you hear is your own mind. You really start to listen. And after a while, when you quiet down your own mind, wow, I have so many thoughts. Oh, wow, I'm looking at my thoughts. Wow, who is the one that's looking at my thoughts? Already that is taking you to a higher place. Just that practice. Who is the one that's looking at my thoughts? Who am I? What am I? How come I can watch my thoughts? I want it to be a little quiet. I'm tired of thinking. Let me sing a nice song. Let me put on a nice tune. Let me do a nice chant. Do you see the mind rests a bit? It needs to rest. Today we're too pressurized. Everybody's too pressurized. From the moment you get up in the morning, it's all do, 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 do. There's no time to be. There's no time to be happy. Even in being happy, you're struggling, you're rushing to a party, you're rushing to a dinner, you're rushing. You get the everybody's mind stuff. So you really can't even be happy when you're wanting to be happy. There's really nowhere to run to. So really learn to be peaceful in your mind. That is the practice, because there's nowhere else you can go. And when you practice, as Sri Patanjali says, for a long time, without a break, and all your heart. If you meditate for 2 months, nothing is happening. You stop, nothing is going to happen. Long time. It's training. It's really training. How many years does it take to understand our own children? Sometimes not even in one lifetime. Right? And that we're doing every single day, looking at your child, looking at, what did I do wrong that my child turned out like this, And child makes you study yourself too, In one lifetime, can you ever study to be a perfect parent? No, because in this lifetime you make so many mistakes. And that's good, because that mistakes make you understand how human you are, and to admit that makes you even more grown up about it. Instead of denying your mistakes, accept them and grow from them. So you see, so many things to do every day, so many things to do every single day. Make time for your spirit. Sri Patanjali tells us. You can. And you practice, and what happens? One day, and this is how it happens. You cannot know when it's going to happen because you just don't know when it's going to happen. You just do the practice without any expectation. And one day you wake up, something negative happens, and you realize, whoa, I would have reacted really different to that before. I'm not doing it anymore. Wow, I'm growing. Something happens. And normally you can't resist this thing. You know what? I can do without it. Wow, I'm really good. Then you get excited. With that excitement, you work hard on yourself. But you always have to inspire. Why do you think people come year after year, week after week here, to re-inspire themselves? Not that they don't have the knowledge, they have all the knowledge. It's just to connect. We come to connect. They have nothing to learn, all these teachers from me. But we just connect with that source, that energy. Because Lord Jesus said, where two or more are gathered in my name, I am there too. Buddha said, you need the sangha to grow in energy. So really, am I a teacher? No, I'm just communicating with you what many of you already know and forgotten, because there's no time to practice, no time to read. I just made a lot of time in my early life, and I'm reaping the benefits of it now. And I'm just telling you, make time. Really make time. And of course, when you make time for yourself to grow, a lot of people will be very upset with you in the beginning because they feel your independence of spirit. Don't listen to that. Say, no, I'm just trying to be a better person. I'm just trying to be a better person. That's all. That's all you have to answer. Don't argue with them. Don't fight with them. Oh, I'm a spiritual person. I'm better than you. A lot of nonsense. You're not better than anybody else. That's rubbish. You are just trying to live a better life for you. That's all you can do. You really can't do it for anybody else. So you just say, I'm trying to be a better person for me. Is anything wrong with that? Is anything wrong? Does it upset you? Do you know? For many people who face opposition from their partners, ask them, is it upsetting you that I want to be a better person? Would you want me to be a horrible person? Would you like me to be moody and angry? Would you like me to scream all the time? I want this, I want this, I want that. Would you like me to be like that? If you do, I'll stop my practices. See what they say. I used to tell my husband that all the time. He said, why do you have to go and take a Raj Yoga course in America for a month? To be a better person. Would you like me to be a better wife or worse wife? Your choice. And then you go, I don't think you should. Well, I think I should. Then you have to fight for yourself. And then when they see the change in you, then, well, maybe there is something in it. Yesterday we were in Spain, and Terry's friend, is she here tonight? Oh, she's gone home, is she?
No, she lives in Spain.
Oh, she lives in Spain. Terry's friend was saying, she'd never done much of this, any of this before, and she said the best present that anybody had ever given her, and especially Terry, was the Yoga Sutras of Sri Patanjali. And I thought, how did she learn it so quick? She's only come for 3 sessions or 2 sessions? And she said, it was Terry. She saw the change in Terry. She saw the way she had grown. She saw the difference in her, that she wanted to learn from her. So who was her teacher? Not me, Terry was. Who are your teachers, all your friends? When you are good and you are positive, you become the teacher to so many people. And she said it was the greatest gift anybody could give her in her entire life. What a nice thing to say, to your friend. What a nice thing to do for a friend. Do you see both ways? It's a perfect combination. It's a perfect action. And because of Terry's growth, her friend grew very quickly too. Because you influence with your energy. You influence with energy. And this is what sangha is about. When we're together in that energy, we influence each other to be more truthful, to be more loving, to be more kind, because we influence each other. And that's a really good kind of influence. It's a really good kind of brainwashing, because it's one that doesn't harm anyone and brings good to people. And that's the difference we can make. That good influence in the world, that good kindness. And that's what the Yoga Sutras are all about. And then he says, but you can't do it alone just by practice. You also to develop this control of the mind, the restraining of the thoughts, you also have to apply one more thing, and which is what we're going to speak about that today, and that is non-attachment. And a lot of people, when I say non-attachment, totally misunderstand. Non-attachment. Didn't I give you the story about me wanting to be a monk? Yeah? Running away, going away. Non-attachment's not about going away. Non-attachment is looking at your life, accepting what comes to you, good or bad, both. Sometimes we don't even like it when good things happen to us. We get confused, or bad. And accepting everything as the divine will. Everything. Non-attachment is not having your personal desire involved in it. It's taking away your personal desire and seeing that there's a higher plan. Non-attachment is understanding that you as an individual is not permanent. You as a spirit is permanent. Non-attachment is recognizing this world is unreal and there's something more real. Non-attachment is recognizing that some things that we think give us pleasure really don't. Sometimes we think this is going to make me happy. They really don't. And sometimes when we think non-attachment, these things are going to make us really unhappy, it really doesn't. Like, for example, simple, you're going on a detox diet. Oh, it's going to make me really unhappy. I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. But really, after you do the detox diet, afterwards you feel really good in yourself. Oh, I've got more energy, I feel I can move faster, I feel stronger, and then you like yourself. You like yourself. But when you think about it, eeks wants to do this, right? So sometimes don't get fooled by what is pleasurable or what is painful. Don't get fooled. Look at the whole. Look at the whole. Look at the end result. Non-attachment, as Sri Patanjali tells us in Sutra 16, I think. Is it 15 or 16? 15 in the Yoga Sutras of Sri Patanjali. What page are we on? Here, you lent me your... Did you lend me your book?
I lent you mine, there you go. So I was listening to it.
Non-attachment. Okay, self-mastery, the consciousness of self. I know it's so much, it's what we do. I'm going to give you a page.
I think I it's the same. I got the Spanish one. Is it the same? It's 23. I'm not sure it's the same. I got the Spanish for the moment.
27, page 27.
Non-attachment.
No, page 20, is it? Page 23, sorry.
Page 23. Oh, it's the same. Wow.
Yeah, page 23.
No.
Okay, got it? For those who have the book. The conscious, anybody want to read it for me? Anybody would like to take a crack at reading it?
Yeah, okay, I'll read it.
Okay.
Is that Sutra 15, yes?
Yeah, correct.
The consciousness of self-mastery in one who is free from craving for objects seen or heard about is non-attachment.
Thank you.
Should I try it again?
Read it again. Yes, it's quite a large one. Yes.
The consciousness of self-mastery in one who is free from craving for objects seen or heard about is non-attachment.
Okay. Now, the consciousness, your consciousness, okay? In one, the consciousness in one, the consciousness in you, in anyone, of self-mastery. That you are conscious that now you have mastered. Got it? You are conscious that you have mastered the craving for objects seen or heard. Now, where do all our cravings come from? Where does all our attachments come from? What are we attached to? My family, my home, my emotions, my sorrow, my joy, my, right? So it's the craving, my desire for all these things, objects, seen, that you see, you're aware of every day. This is mine, that is mine, this is mine. Seeing objects, seeing, or you maybe see something, a beautiful dress or a nice computer or some gadget in a shop, and you go, I've seen it, and suddenly you desire it. You desire it, I've seen it, and then it goes in your mind, I really want it, I really need it, then you convince yourself you really need it, I have to have it, right? And this is what we do all the time when we have no consciousness. We just see something, then we collect money, we buy it, we put it in our homes. After 2 days, we're bored, we want something else, we collect something else, put it in our homes. After 3 days, we're bored, and this is a constant state of misery that most of us live in. And we know, we get it, we're happy, and then again, we again lost our peace, right? So this is the consciousness of self-mastery. What is disturbing me? What am I craving for? Objects seen or heard. Sometimes people tell you something. Oh, you know, I went on this wonderful cruise. I went here. I had such an amazing time. And then you go, I live such a miserable life. I don't go anywhere. My life is such a drudgery. But really, you were very, 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 very happy before you heard about this wonderful cruise that somebody had and you can't have because you don't have the money to go on a cruise. You suddenly got miserable, right? Now, the consciousness of how you got miserable, when you have the self-mastery, and somebody tells you something, and you go, I understand it. You know, what will happen? I'll go on a cruise, I'll get happy, I'll come back, and I'll want something else. So you know what? If I have it, great. If I don't get it, great. You won't think about it anymore. You'll drop it. That is non-attachment. Somebody swears at you. It hurts, doesn't it, when somebody insults you and swears at you? You go home, you feel really bad, and then you go, you know what? This is the way of the world. This is the way. Why should I take it to me? Am I like that? No, I'm not this kind of person. But they believe I'm like that. Oh, poor things. What kind of mind they must have to be thinking so badly about me all day long. Poor things. And you drop it. You don't need to have it in your head for days and get miserable. But instead, you develop compassion. That's non-attachment. So many relationships go wrong because one partner suffocates the other because they want ownership, clinging. It's mine, nothing is yours. If you really love someone, allow them to grow. Encourage them to grow in their own way. Encourage them to have their own friends. Encourage them to have their own world. Then when you get together, there's a lot to talk about. You want somebody by your side all the time, and this is what people think a good relationship is, when you have somebody by your side 24 hours a day. I tell you, it's a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe for disaster because you get bored, and you get all the time somebody that you tell you all day long, It's nice for a little while when you go on a holiday, but you need space. And when people are creative, it's very attractive, isn't it? When you are creative, you're attractive to yourself, aren't you? But if you get boring, get up, go to work, go home, and then you tell everybody else they're boring. That's what you are. Make yourself interesting. Have some interest to serve, or have some hobby, any hobby that will elevate you and make you interesting to yourself and to the world. While we're in the world, we might as well do something useful. Not everybody wants to go out and serve the poor or feed the poor, but you can make yourself useful in other ways. There's so many millions of ways. I wish I was interested in business, because every day I get these millions of ideas of how to run businesses. I go, no, I'm not interested in business. I did it for 23 years. And now my business is with God. I'm done, because the samskaras, the thought patterns keep coming out. And I get all these ideas, and I go, people in business, there's so much to do. I don't know why they say say there's no way out or there's no money to be made. There's money to be made everywhere. I remember I was in Tanzania now, and they, with so many mosquitoes, so many mosquito bites on my feet. Anyway, no mosquito plugs anywhere. Great business to be in, don't you think? If I was interested, I could be a millionaire tomorrow, but I really don't want to spend my time and money. Money will come when I need it. I really know that. And I want to spend my time with enjoying being and with God. With all of you, because everybody is God, everybody is divine, everybody is wonderful. So I have to weigh, okay, if I do business, the money will last me till I die. If I do business with God, my soul will be forever. So I do business with God. That is my choice, But if you are in business, and if you are in work, and if you are in that, make it spiritual. When you make it spiritual, it moves, the business gets better. Fill the business with love, fill the business with energy. Be creative. If something is not working, don't get stuck to this old way of doing business. Move, churn, find out ideas. Keep churning, keep finding, look on the internet, see, travel. Most people, when things are not working, they get so depressed, and then as you think, the business gets worse and worse and worse. Think of ideas. Today we're going to have a really special offer. I'll make the windows so attractive that everybody has to look, And, so many different things you can think of. So many ideas, And it's better to make a little money than no money at all. And people are also stuck to prices, I remember there was this lady I met in one of my travels, and she was an artist, and that's how she made her living. But of course, with the credit crunch, people are not spending so much money on paintings like they used to. And her paintings were like 2,000-3,000 euros, which she easily got. She easily got at good times. And then she hadn't sold the painting for like 8 or 9 months. And I said, I guess isn't it better to get 500 euros than zero and have all those paintings rusting away in your gallery? And she said, why didn't I think of it? Because your attachment to your reputation and your money. I said, what is more important, your reputation, your money, or that you should feed yourself and your children? And she said, feed myself, my children. She said, Nalanie, I'm going to try that. And she did that. And I said, if you don't want to sell those ones, you got 2 little pieces for bread and butter money. You have a name. You're already known in this country. All you have to do is make little things that people could buy. 20, 30 euros, little paintings with your signature. Don't get stuck. She got really excited. Why didn't I think of it? I said, because the mind is stuck in fear. Attachment to the painting. Oh, what does it do if you die tomorrow? Who's going to pay 3,000 euros? And if they do, or 5,000 or 10,000, they may even pay 20. Who will get it? You have no children. Who will the money go to anyway? You might as well enjoy your life. Do you see what I'm saying? We get so stuck. And this is all to do with attachment, because we think things are permanent when they're not. So we're scared to shift energy, where we don't trust nature, we don't trust the divine energy, that we will always be fed, that we will always be looked after. So we stay stuck, and then we blame God. I have no business, I'm not doing well, things are going badly. Of course things are going badly, but we have the brains, the thought pattern to change it. And as you think, and the more you repeat things are bad, what will happen?
Things will be bad.
Correct, because the universe reflects our mind. That's all it does. It's like a mirror. It's like a mirror, and Sri Patanjali actually explains that later on. Science has only discovered that recently, and Sri Patanjali, this is an old book of 3,000 years or whatever it is, and he tells us, when you start to understand who you truly are, then the yogi becomes like a crystal. You become like a crystal. You yourself become like a crystal. So what happens? If somebody is negative and they're rude to you, they'll see themselves. Because you'll just reflect it, bounce the colors off. You'll bounce it off. Yesterday, who was it? And Helena told a lovely story about Paramahansa Yogananda. She was doing a talk on non-violence. And Paramahansa Yogananda was a fabulous what you call spiritual leader, and brought a lot of this knowledge to the Western world. And anyway, he was so filled with peace. And when he was in America, New York City, 3 thugs, and it was so obvious, were running towards him. They wanted to, I don't know, assault him or hurt him or steal something from him. Nobody knew what, but everybody could see these 3 thugs walking up to him, or maybe playing prejudice, you don't know, you know. Anyway, the moment they ran up to him, what happened? They couldn't do it. It was like a force field. It was like a force field. They suddenly bowed down on the floor and asked his apology. This is written in Autobiography of a Yogi, as Helena was telling us yesterday, you know. So, and you hear many stories like that. Why? Because when you are so peaceful, negative cannot enter. It cannot enter. It's a universal law. It's a universal law. And I remember in the early years when I first started teaching, sometimes we would have people who obviously wanted to test me, and you people are very polite. Bless you, God is here. So I remember there were people who were negative or rude, and some of my other students used to worry. Oh, now they come every week and they're rude and they're negative and they think they know it all. And I used to go, you don't have to worry about that. If they're negative, all your good energy in a room, they cannot be comfortable. After 2 or 3 weeks, they'll leave. Isn't it true? You were there in the early days, very early days when we started. Didn't they leave? They would come 1 or 2 and try to create a negative energy, but because the people there were so strong in their positive energy, they left. They didn't come. So you see, you don't have to do anything. There's such a great power that they can't stay because they need to gossip and they need to have something nasty to say, and nobody's talking back. There's nothing for them. They're bored here with us, you know. So you don't have to worry about throwing them out. Life will make sure they'll be thrown out. And that's the way. That's the non-attachment. That's the non-attachment. The non-attachment is so subtle, so subtle, but it takes time. It takes time to develop. Because of course, you know, my daughter asked me this question. I think I've said it many, many times. She said to me when her first child was born, Mom, you talk to me about non-attachment. But tell me, I have a baby. If I was non-attached, how could I look after my child? You know? And she goes, Mom, I'm really attached to my baby. And I laughed and I looked at her and I said, of course, don't you see how wonderful the plan is? If you weren't attached, then would you be able to get up in the middle of the night if the baby's crying? No, you're not attached, so you wouldn't get up. You wouldn't be bothered. So how nature has made a mother to be attached in the early years. But look, as the child grows up, and you still want to put your attachment, what happens? When teenagers, they rebel.
They start telling you to leave them alone.
Yes, they start telling you, leave me alone. And the more you attach, the more they rebel. The more you tell them what to do, the worse they get. So the parent comes to me and says, what did I do wrong? I only gave them love and very good advice. I said, but you clobbered them. My advice is the only way.
Suffocated.
Yes, suffocated them. So they had to run away to find peace somewhere else. All teenagers need to explore. And that's the natural. See how God is arranging? So long as you guide them and you tell them this is not good for you, they'll make the mistakes. We all did. We all, don't forget when we were children, we all made the same mistakes. We have to allow them the mistakes. But if you're kind and strong with them and give them a good background of non-violence, truthfulness, I tell you what, you cannot lose them. They will always come back. They will always come back. So, but natural, nature has its laws for us to be detached. And then they get married and they have their own partners. And then if you interfere too much with their marriage, you also cause problems in their marriage. And I've seen so many parents cause trouble in their children's marriage. Don't interfere so much. Guide them, help them, support them. Interfere? No. Because then you disturb them. If you take any, I remember I told my daughter, this is the natural order of things. if you argue with your husband, as my mother said to me, I'm telling you the same thing. I don't want to know, right? What I want to know is, you can talk to me, but don't expect me to take your side. Don't expect me to. I will give you advice. And if I really, really think he's done something wrong, I will speak to him myself. But I'd rather not know, because what if something horrible happens, and then you tell me, and I get upset for you, because I'm your mother, then what will happen? You forgive him tomorrow, and I'll be the bad person to cause all the trouble between you two. And you will forgive him tomorrow. And so, of course, even if she tells me now, I never get angry with Andrew, because I love him. I know he's a great guy. So, I keep saying, oh, Mom, you really just always take Andrew's side. But it's not that. I know he's a great guy. It's just marriage. Some days you are wrong, some days he's wrong. It's life. It's life. We can't all be right all the time. So, and it's marriage. You learn about each other, you adapt, you learn your own courage to say what you don't like. If I tell you, oh, you should tell your husband that, and you should tell your husband this, and you should do that, you're not thinking for you, I am thinking for you. And I cannot think for you because I'm not in your position. So you have to learn to use your own power to fix things. Do you mind if you just
We just come to neuralgia with us. Sometimes when you do, you say, keep it so.
Yeah,
It's not completely, that was a film.
yeah, it was just, perfect, that's perfect. Thank you, thank you. So, thank you. So, he was like, okay, I don't think I can look that direction. Yeah, so, do you see what I'm saying? So, life makes a natural order for things. And if you get the hint and you watch you watch life as if you're watching a movie, you see everybody goes through basically the same patterns. What causes problems is the attachment to this is belonging to me, this is mine, that is mine. But the non-attachment is the ability, and this is why Sri Patanjali tells us to develop discriminative discernment. When should you interfere? When should you shut up? He tells us very clearly. You need to develop that. And the only way you can develop that is when you become not emotionally agitated and involved so much with everything. If you become too emotionally agitated, it's your perception, and you will contaminate somebody that may not need contamination. Do you know what I'm saying? So you have to be really clear when you should make strong statements and when you shouldn't, because you can really change your life. So I was explaining this to my daughter, and I said, so you see, now you're meant to be attached. It makes you a good mom. But the attachment is one that to your duty as a mother, not that the children are yours. The attachment should be, you have been given this job by the divine to look after these children for the divine. Got it? They do not belong to you. They're on loan to you. So the attachment should not be to the child itself, but the duty that you were given. So how should you do this duty? And then she could understand it really, really, really well. And I can see it's a process. You see, we have to learn where our weaknesses are and where our strengths are. And non-attachment is so beautiful. It's really a beautiful practice. It doesn't mean, oh, I'm going to run away from everybody. I don't want to be with this one or that. It's nothing to do. I can't do this. I can't enjoy this. I can't enjoy life. I have to make my life so austere. As many spiritual people, religious people tell me, oh, I don't have the right to be happy, because if I'm happy, I get carried away in the world. I said, do you know any of the masters? They were not miserable. They're all happy. My master used to joke all the time. He was making jokes all the time. He loved flying planes. He loved fixing cars. He loved everything. Everywhere you took him, he loved. He enjoyed it all. He enjoyed everything in life. In fact, I was told by Satish, who was with him the last 2 weeks of his life, that Gurudev went jet skiing and, and he must have known. He said he was eating everything, all the vegetarian, because he was a vegetarian, but he was eating, he was enjoying life, and then suddenly, he had the knock on his head and he had an aneurysm and he died within 2 or 3 days. But it was almost like he knew he enjoyed everything.
But he always said it was an accident was just an excuse to get out of the drama, wasn't it?
That's right.
He used to wear these kind of glasses, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Sunglasses with love, with heart-shaped. Yeah. And he'd say, I'm looking through my rose-colored glasses. And so on that note, we talk about non-attachment. So for those who want to pursue on their personal growth plan, my advice to you is, you know, tonight when you get home or sometime during this week, the weekend, take a notebook and, you know, ask yourself without any judgment, don't say, oh, I'm horrible, I'm so possessive over this and that. No, just look at it and say, you know, what am I so attached to? And what do I always, you know, what thought am I constantly attached to? What thought keeps coming in my mind all the time? It will tell you. You could be attached to a negative thought that existed there for years. You know, it could be the thought you are attached to. It could be an emotion. It could be a thing. But more difficult is the attachment to the thought and the emotion, which you have to see. You know, I'm moody. Many people say, oh, this is the way I am, I'm moody. I say, no, it's not the way you are. You're pure, you're wonderful, you're like a diamond. You just think you're moody. So as you think, you can change it. Why can't you change it? You can change it. Easy to change it. Oh no, this is the way I was born. It's a cop-out. Anybody can say that. Easy, isn't it? And then cause all the harm. I was born a murderer, so let me just kill everybody, you know? Then the whole world will be in chaos. So yoga is to get out of that chaos. Yoga is the science that drags you from this continuous circle of cause-effect, suffering, pain, joy, suffering, pain, to take you to a place of peace where you look down at yourself, where you're able to look down at your life and yourself, decide, you know what, I feel like being a little naughty today, doesn't hurt anyone, should I be naughty? Yeah, I'm going to have a little fun. And tomorrow I want to be a little austere with myself because I feel I need to be austere with myself, to be a little strict because my senses are running away. Then you do, you watch it and you decide. So long as you cause no harm to anyone, some benefit to someone, yourself included. So on that note, please take a book, write down your feelings and your emotions. And we have a few announcements, yeah. One announcement is, I talked about Satish, who was a disciple of Sri Swami Satchidananda. And in service in Satchidananda, he's joined our SIS team. He feels what he needs to do in life is create books of Swami Satchidananda and give them freely all over the world. So he has sent us boxes of these, which should have been totally free, but because they landed in Barcelona and the papers, the bill of lading was all incorrect and everything, we've had to pay over 700 euros to free the goods, get the goods out. I mean, there are thousands of books. I mean, how many books are there?
I reckon it's about over 1,000 books.
Over 1,000 books.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we paid 700 euros from our charity money to clear all this, but at least we've got them now. And really, they should have been given free to everyone. The original price of this is, for example, $17.95, which is about 12 pounds or something. So please don't mistake it for the books that we have in the shop, because we really had to pay for those full price. These they're in Spanish though, because there was nothing printed.